Hi everybody! Welcome to the second edition of Bonanza Bits on Ponderosa North for the love of Bonanza. Well, I've got plenty to show you today on Bonanza Bits, but I want to do a bit of housekeeping first. I don't edit these shows, I just press the button go and then stop. So often I'll be rambling on and I'll make mistakes or misspeak and say things that I didn't mean. So I just want to clear up a few of my errors. In the ride, it was Toby Barker that was killed, not Toby Maguire. Spider-Man was not in Bonanza. It was John Carradine that starred in Springtime, and he's the patriarch of the Carradine clan. There's so many of them. David, Keith, Robert. It was John that was in the Springtime. David Rose wrote the new theme song for Bonanza, and he also wrote the theme song for Little House on the Prairie, and that's why they sound so similar. David Canary was born in Elwood, Indiana, not Elwood, California. And I mentioned that Dead and Gone was Pernell Roberts' final episode. And what I meant to say, it was the final episode that featured him, that was about Adam. His final episode was to own the world with Telly Savalas. He had a few scenes in that, so that was his last episode. Okay, let's move on to all this stuff. I want to show you this picture. It's one of my favorite pictures. It's the entire cast at an award show. And you'll see that Mike is with his wife Dodie there, and Dan is with his wife Delphia. I'm not sure who this person is beside Victor Sen Young, but you'll notice that Pernell and Lorne are a stag. Well, if they needed a date, all they had to do was ask. But I love this picture because it's the entire cast out and about, out on the town. I mentioned to you before about the Indian head portrait that appears all kinds of places. Well, here's a couple. So here it is here. This is Adam in a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And here it is in Joe's bedroom. So watch for this Indian head portrait. It appears in saloons and other people's houses and hotels. And so whenever you see the Indian head portrait, you get to have a drink. I also wanted to mention that Ben was a world traveler. He, I guess, being on a ship, being first mate on a ship, he made his way around the world. He mentions going to Amsterdam and Madrid and Palermo. So a very worldly man was Ben Cartwright. Let's talk about Dan Blocker and his love of cars. The man loved cars. He loved racing cars. I think he owned a few racing cars. I think he shared this love of engines with Pernell, who liked motorcycles and stuff like that. But yeah, Dan Blocker, there he is getting into a sports car. He loved the motorsports. Oh, there we go. There he is with his family sedan. So yeah, Dan Blocker and cars, he loved them. I want to mention this. This is kind of funny. I call this the hat, and it shows up everywhere. I don't know what was happening in the wardrobe department of the Bonanza. I think they just had a big room and they just filled it with the same stuff, and people came in and they just picked out what they liked and what fit. So here is the hat worn by Guy Williams, and then it appears again. Peter Breck is wearing the hat, and then some other actor, I don't know his name, guest star, was wearing it, and then Earl Holliman shows up with the same hat. This hat appears about, it should have its own credit. It appears everywhere all the time. The Flintstones. Here are the Cartwrights. So the Flintstones paying tribute to the Cartwrights. We used to watch the Flintstones when I was a kid. That's the Cartwrights on the Flintstones. Now, I want to talk a little bit about these two, Lorne and Michael. David Dortort does an interview, and I'm going to put a link of the interview below. And he gets very emotional when he talks about the relationship between Lorne and Michael. I mentioned before that Michael had quite a tumultuous upbringing, and David Dortort says when these two got together, Michael had found his dad. They were very, very close. And Pernell and Dan and Lorne all were raised with loving families, and Michael was not. And and Lorne was very demonstrative with Michael, and put his arm around him and really sort of loved him right off, and they had a very, very close relationship right up to the end. Okay, a few degrees of separation I want to mention here. Michael Landon on Little House, his daughter was Melissa Gilbert. Okay, fine. Then in Trapper John, his son was played by Timothy Busfield. Now Melissa Gilbert and Timothy Busfield are married. I couldn't believe that. Do they know how ironic that is? Little Joe's daughter and Adam's son are married? It seems, I don't even know what to say, but there they are. Another thing I found out, which I did not know, our beautiful Abigail Jones, played by Eileen Ryan. Here she is. We all know Abigail Jones. We all love her, especially Adam, as you can see. She's Sean Penn's mother. I did not know that. Here they are, Eileen Ryan and Sean Penn. And the other thing is the first appearance of Sean Penn on television or anywhere on screen is on Little House on the Prairie. So I don't know if Michael just needed kids. Mark Landon said that he used to hang out with Chris Roberts. They used to hang around and play around the set and stuff. So maybe Sean Penn was on the set working with his dad, Leo Penn, or with his mom. And Michael Landon said, "I need a bunch of kids." And Sean Penn was one of them. So I don't know. I was watching The Dirty Dozen the other day, and I hadn't seen it before, but I was watching it because of Lee Marvin. And as I'm watching it, I'm going, oh, that guy was on Bonanza. That guy was on Bonanza. Turns out 5 of the Dirty Dozen were on Bonanza. Lee Marvin, Richard Jackal, Charles Bronson, Telly Savalas, and George Kennedy. It was like a rite of passage to be on Bonanza. Here we go. Joseph with his feet on the furniture. It's Joseph, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, feet on the floor. It was really a running joke in the show. And he never learned. You'd think he'd learn, but he never did. So I'm going to end today's Bonanza Bits with a few memes that have shown up on the internet. Here's the first one. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Yes, they were always getting their older brother into all kinds of trouble. Here's another one. Do I look amused? I'm raising 3 boys, I guess. When you're strong and independent, but haven't had a date in a year. Yes, I can totally relate to that. Here's another one. It says, oh man, is she dead too? Well, don't blame me. I didn't love her. That is related to the Cartwright curse. Women were doomed when they dated a Cartwright or agreed to marry a Cartwright or stepped 1 foot on the Ponderosa. Here's the last one. You want me to do what? Are you sure? Oh man, they were funny. So I have been watching, the local station here has been running the show from beginning to end, and they just finished the 5th season or the 6th season, whichever was Pernell's last season, and then I started watching it without Pernell, and it's really struck me because I started paying attention. I thought, well, what's the difference here? And I found that the difference was that when Pernell was there, they focused on stories about the family. They were all together. They were all around the dining room. It was a family. It was about that family unit and what happened to them. And then when Pernell left, they seemed all to go in their own direction. The show's focused on one of the characters, not all of them together. And a lot of the focus was on people outside the family. So I think that's why it's lost its luster for me, because I was really all about the family, and that seemed to disappear with the loss of Pernell Roberts. Okay, that's it for this edition of Bonanza Bits. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Ponderosa North for the love of Bonanza.